What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're going to look at the Oklahoma Air Raid playbook in college football 26. Brent Venables, he's been there for a few years. He's trying to get things turned around. He's hired a new offensive coordinator. That dude came from Washington State, had a lot of success there. He was Cam Ward's offensive coordinator when Cam Ward was at Washington State a couple years ago. He's brought John Mateer with him. So it seems like every quarterback he touches turns to gold. I think his offense is a lot of fun. They're off to a good start at Oklahoma. And his offense, I think, is great. Probably the best collection of true spread formations of any playbook that I've seen. Anybody who doesn't want to do veer and shoot, but you want to really spread a defense out, this is as good as a playbook as you can find. So we're going to go over the formations, concepts, play types, and personnel. And hopefully by the end of the video, you have a good idea of what this playbook is all about. I'm also making a player's guide for this playbook. I go through each position and we go find plays that make it really easy to get the ball to those specific positions. So make sure you check that out. That is for channel members. Let's start off with the formation. So the game calls this an air raid playbook. I think this is more spread. You could decide for yourself based off the concepts and whatnot, but by the time you go through all these formations, you may have a good idea of why I'm calling this a real spread playbook. Starting off, again, there's nothing but shotgun. We have gun wing. This is a 3-by-1 look with 2 tight ends. Then we got wing slot offset. You're moving that Z receiver to the other side. Then we got doubles. So if you needed 2 tight ends, this is all you have. You got 9 to 21. So you got about 30 plays there with multiple tight ends by default. Then we get into our 11 personnel with an attached tight end. We got several of these. Starting off doubles. That's a 2-by-2 look, 24 plays there. Then we got doubles flex. Normal Y off weak. Then we get into some trips look. We got a 3-by-1 Y off trips nasty. Then we got a trips X off. Then we got Y off trips. Then we got Y off trio weak. Then we get into some true trips with the tight end. I really like these. And this playbook has quite a few. We got trips tight end, trio unbalance, a fun quads look, and then we got another quads look, trips Y over. So you got 4 of these where you're really pushing and stressing the defense to one side of the field, especially with these quads look. Okay, so this is where it starts, and this is probably the reason why you're going to pick this playbook is for all of these crazy amount of true spread formations. When I say spread, I'm thinking of no tight end as attached to the line. You got 2 to 3, or you got 4 guys either on one side or the other. And starting off, we got double stack, 9 plays there. Notice your tight end, he's number 81, so he's going to be in a lot of these. Then you got basic spread. This is a true 4 wide receiver look. Then we got spread flex weak, spread halfback weak, normal flex snug, bunch open offset. Then we got trips. That's back to a true 4 wide receiver look. Then we got halfback weak, the same thing. Then we got a bunch of empty formation. Maybe the best empty playbook in the entire game. Empty bunch open, empty base, empty quads, and then bunch quads open. So you got a couple 2 tight end looks. You got all these 3 wide receiver looks right here. And I love this collection of true trips, as you see right there. And then we get into the real spread stuff where you're spreading out that defense. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You got 12 spread formations. If you don't like the veer and shoot, but you really want to spread a defense out, you cannot go wrong with all of these formations right here. I absolutely love it. I could talk about these for days, but we got to move on. So the next thing I like to do is go through each one and kind of show you some motion mini series from all of these. So let's go to the very beginning. And this has got some motion in it. It's not the biggest amount, but this is not why you pick the playbook. So let's start off with wing, and let's just go and try to find some motion. Here we go with some halfback swing. We got a motion halfback swing. We got a motion QB sweep, which is a really cool play. And then we got red zone motion wide receiver angle. I'm going to call this QB sweep. Pretty neat. Just a good compliment to the basic swing. Looks like we're going man. Then let's see, can we get a block or 2? I probably could have handled that a little bit better, but that's a fun little play. I think you can have some real fun times with that one. Just a unique concept. Keep on going. Do we got any more from this formation? We got a tight end, sort of like an exit motion. We got an inside zone split. We got a PA slide motion counter on top of that. Then we got some jet sweep. We got the fake jet. We got the PA jet sweep. Then we got a jet pass fake zone. You keep on going. What about doubles? We have some orbit motion. We got a Y stick, halfback screen. Then we got an orbit Y sail. So this is the air raid portion of the playbook, is when you get into some fancy stuff like this. So you're just motioning the Z receiver over. We're going to run basic sail here. He's wide open. Let's just pick up a couple yards. Very easy stuff right there. Anyway, having some motion built into your air raid is pretty cool. So that's another reason why they probably call it air raid, with some of that stuff built in. You keep on going. Do we got any more in this formation? We got a more jet sweep. We got the basic touch pass. Keep on going. What about doubles flex? Do we have any here? We got some Z motion, flanker drive. You see over there on the right. Keep on going. What about normal Y off weak? Do we have any here? Let's see. What about Y off trips? Nasty. What about Y trips X off? Here we have more orbit motion. We got a cross screen. We got an RPO. And we got a fake screen wheel. So that fake screen wheel, they use that quite a bit in that Michigan game. I don't know if anybody noticed that or not. I'm going to go ahead and call that. Let's see if I can mimic something here. I'm going to go like a cover one. So what they've done here, you see that red route, that wheel. This was a really fun play. They brought the swing. Sometimes they would do this with a halfback. He would be the swing man. Then you go over here, then you go over the top, and you can do some just really fun things right there. So they call that, I think, 2 or 3 times in that game from what I remember. So that's a fun little concept for you to fool around with. So you got a little mini series there. Then we got more. We got more jet sweep action, inside zone. We got a touch pass, and we got a play action on top of that. But look with that PA scissors. What does that look like to you? That red route, the primary route. That's Y sail, honestly, in the air raid world. Y off trips. Let's keep on going. We have some, I call this halfback exit motion, but he goes in front of the quarterback instead of behind him like a swing. You got a motion, cross, RPO, QB zone. Then we got motion screen stick. Again, that's an air raid staple. You keep on going. Do we have any more? We have some tight end motion. We got a zone split, the PA motion slide, and a read option built on top of that. Y off trio week. See if we can find any mini schemes here. What about trips tight end? And of course, you do not need to use any motion. You can create any type of mini scheme you want out of any of these plays, but I just really want to point out the motion side of things. We got another jet sweep series. We got the jet sweep via the touch pass. We got an off tackle, and we got a PA halfback wheel. Look, what's that halfback doing? There's that wheel again that we looked at earlier. You keep on going. What about trio unbalanced? Do we have any here? Normally, when you get into the true trios, those true trips and spread looks, you're not going to find as much motion. But we still got to go through here. You just never know. So let's go through spread. Do we have any here? We do not. What about spread flex week? We got some halfback swing. We got a spot Y seam. We got a Z spot, and we got a spot dig. Keep on going. I think that's it for this formation. Spread halfback week. We have more of that exit motion, kind of sort of with the halfback, but he goes in front of the quarterback again. You got a Z screen. You got a fake screen wheel. Then you got a wide receiver mid screen. I'm going to go ahead and call this a Z screen. What's really cool about this, it just gets an extra blocker for your Z receiver. Let me get him motion out there. Looks like they're going man. This may not work just because it's going man. We'll see. Go over here. Yeah, he's got picked up. Either way, that's a good zone beater if you need that or not. Of course, you got the backside man beater on that side. So what you can do here, you can motion him. Somebody went out with him, but see, I think they're going man. Let's see. I went to the wrong guy. We're going to get some yards anyways. Oh, that's intercepted. Either way, that's a fun little concept if you need it as well. You keep on going. I think that's it. So we got more of the same motion. We got a Y cross halfback screen, and then there's that Y sail. So I'm a big Y cross fan. Again, this is more air raid stuff. You're just bringing in more window dressing, this time with the halfback when he's going underneath the quarterback. And I just went to the Y cross on purpose just to kind of show you what the whole point is. But either way, that's a fun little concept as well. Can't go wrong with some of this pre-snap motion air raid stuff. Is that it in terms of, so we got more halfback swing, we got a curl, we got a swing, we got a Z spot. Keep on going. Normal flex snug. Do we have any here? We do not. What about bunch open offset? Do we have any here? What about trips? Again, the more spread out you go, the less motion you're going to find, but that doesn't mean there won't be any. Again, you just have to go through here and see if there's any fun little schemes that you can fool around with. That's the whole point of this video. We got a jet sweep out of an empty base. That may be it out of this formation, I think. No, we got one more. Let me go back. So yes, we got this type of motion. We got screen birds, a halfback screen, fake screen slungo. So I'm going to call this halfback screen. Again, the whole point of this is hopefully they go zone. You got an extra blocker to help you out. But it looks like they're going, man, you may want to hit this backside slam. But I'm going to go ahead and force it to the halfback. We're going to get decent. Nobody blocked that dude right there, but that could have been a decent play. Either way, that's a fun little series to fool around with. I think that is it for that formation. What about empty quads? Do we have any here? We do not. Then we got bunch quads open. We do not have any there. So there was some good motion in there. Some interesting stuff. A lot of that under exit motion with the halfback. I guess that was the big theme, along with some jet sweeps built into that. Okay, so we've talked about formations. Let's talk about personnel. This is going to be pretty much 11 and 10 personnel. I'm going to go to the very bottom. We have an 0-1 formation. That's that empty quad. So if you need 4 wide receivers and a tight end, there you go. You got 6 plays. You got some 4 wide stuff. You got 1, 2, 3. So you got 3, 4 wide receiver looks, 24 plus 21 plus 21. That gives you close to 70 plays just for 4 wide receivers. That's more than what you would ever need. And you go to 11 personnel. As with most spread playbooks, whether it's air raid, spread, power spread, most of this is going to be based off 11 personnel, even with all this spread stuff, which is not a bad thing. Again, this is your base personnel grouping. Everything's going to be based around that. Again, it kind of comes down to your personnel, though. Let's talk about 2 tight end looks. Again, you only have a couple here, as we saw. 21 personnel is just your clock, 23 is your goal line, and 32 is your QB nil. So again, this is not a 2-back offense at all. You got 1 running back out there, and it just comes down to your roster. Do you have plenty of good receivers? Do you need to have a really good tight end? Do you have a couple? Then you can use a couple of these formations here. Otherwise, it's all about these personnel groupings right here. Let's talk about concepts. Let's talk about the plays themselves. I actually want to go to play type first and show you this. So this is going to be a very pass-heavy attack. Looking at my tables on my College Football 26 page, I noticed it's one of the higher ones in terms of amount of pass plays, so kind of keep that in mind. This is not an option-heavy attack. You're going to see a lot more read option than anything here. We do got a decent collection of RPOs, 38 of them. If that is enough for you, we're going to go through those. So this gives you a rough idea. Let me just go to the runs. I do want to bring up a couple things. We got 10 QB runs. This is a really high amount for what this playbook is trying to do. And John Mateer, if anybody's watched Oklahoma so far this year, this dude runs an absolute ton. And these are some of the concepts they like to use. There's that QB sweep, QB power, and some zone. We got a QB down. I'm actually going to call this. This is really fun. We'll go against something random. This may get shut down big time. They're shifting hard to one side. But I do like that I got a pulling front side guard to work with just to get whatever tough yards you need with your quarterback. But having 10 total quarterback runs, I think that's just really neat. So we got blast. Of course, you guys can do this from some of the empty formations. I also want to point out draws. There may be some QB draws in here you want to throw in with your QB run. So there's a QB draw there. So we got 2 QB draws. So you got those 2 plus these 10. That gives you 12 QB runs. So this is going to be a big proponent in your offense if you got a quarterback that can handle it. If you can't, or you just want to do more read option type stuff, you're going to have plenty of that as well. Let's talk about the passing. I do want to point out play action. There's only 37 of these. This is actually a pretty low number. You're going to run the ball, if you got the numbers in the box and everything. I would use the play action plays that fit the concepts that you like. So, for example, this PA bubble Y over, that to me looks like Y cross. So if you're a big Y cross fan, or this PE read, what does that look like to you? Looks more like Y cross to me. PA dagger, if you're a shallow cross guy, I would start using more of those. But otherwise, you're going to be doing more drop back than anything else. I also want to point out screens. Let me go over here. So 36 screens. This is a decent number of true screens. These are your non-RPO screens. These are your halfback screens, wide receiver screens, mid screens, that type of thing. This is a big component of your offense. I would prioritize this. And then when you throw in all these RPOs, you got more screens than you know what to do with. Okay, so let's go and talk about some more concepts. Let's go over here. As you can see here, we got an even amount of run and option, but of course they put the RPOs with the option section. Let's talk about the run game. Let's look at some numbers here. I want to point out inside zone. This zone running in general first. We got 23 inside zones. This is where it starts for you. You throw in your inside. You only got 4 outside. It makes sense because if you think about it, you're spreading everybody out. The easiest way to run the ball is just kind of get vertical as quickly as you can, if that makes sense. So inside zone is going to be a big deal. If you want to throw some gap scheme, you got 10 powers, and you can throw some counter if you need to as well. But this is a pass-happy attack, so you need to include all these draws, 13 of them. That's a lot of draws. This is one of the higher amount of draws. That's not a run and shoot playbook, if that tells you anything. Now, let's see, what else we got? We got a sweep and we got a trap. Those are more power based than anything else. Let's talk about the option game. Basic option, you got 5 load/speed. That's actually a high number compared to some other playbooks that's got speed. Most of them barely have 3. This one's got 5. You got 16 reads. This is going to be your main option concept. I'm not the biggest read option guy, but you got 16, which is more than what you would ever need. Those Those are the 5 speeds we looked at. Let's talk about the RPOs. We got 12 reads, and again, this is a variety of things: Y flat, bubble, some alert, things of that nature. We got 6 peaks. Those are usually your backside, your slot, slants, things of that nature. But the bulk of this is going to be your alerts. So it comes down to what kind of alerts you like. Do you like your bubbles, your true alert screens? Do you like shock? Do we have any alert outs? I don't think we do. Yeah, we got one. That's right. We got a couple technically. We got an RPO alert shock. So you got a double combo RPO concept there, which is pretty cool. So again, the bulk of this is going to be your RPO alerts. If you're into the RPO side of things, 20 is more than what you would ever need. Let's talk about the passing game. I want to go to Quick Pass. So this one's got a really good collection of quick game. Starting off 8 Ohio. That's a really high number. Ohio is just your go out combo, as you see here with slot outs. Now those slots are a little bit deeper than what I would like. Of course, you can adjust those routes if you need to. 2 Omahas. We got a scat. We got 8 slants. We got a couple spacings, and then we got 9 sticks. So like with most playbooks, space or a slant and stick are going to be your go-tos. More often than not, it's a combination of the two, as you see here with gun empty base, stick. You got slant on one side and stick on the other. Let's talk about the medium. So you notice the medium and the deep, it's pretty even. So you got plenty to choose from here. Let's go find some high number stuff. Let's look at some curls. So any type of curl or a hitch, they're going to dump it here. 19 curls. That is an absolute bunch. I would prioritize basic curl flat. This is Hank. There's plenty of it in here. Starting, let's see what else we got. Let's go and find 7 mesh. I do want to point this out. So mesh is an air raid concept. 7 is enough, I would imagine. But there are plenty of other playbooks that got more than that, though. Let's go find another high-end. So shallow cross, I mentioned this earlier. Plenty of 8 shallow cross. Then you got 66 Dixie. I think this playbook and the Wake Forest playbook. So Wake Forest, the head coach that was at Washington State, who was the head coach for Ben Arbuckle at Oklahoma, is now at Wake Forest. So if you want to find a similar playbook to Oklahoma, go check out Wake Forest. Okay, so you're going to find some similar plays here, like 66 Dixie. When I looked it up, I'm pretty sure those are the only 2 playbooks that had that particular play. Let's see, we got 6 slot cross. This is basically your Y cross, more of a shorter version. 26 smash, so just kind of find the concept you like the most. You want the classic, like smash corners, or do you want a corner flat? And there's some shock built in here as well. We saw, like, there you go. We got a shock H option, things of that nature. Then we got a Z spot and go. So you got a spot on one side, then you got a shock on the other. We got 10 spots. This is basically Y corner in the air raid world. 10 is a really high number for that concept, so I would prioritize this. And I think those are the only ones I really wanted to point out. This isn't a very option route heavy playbook, which probably isn't going to hurt anybody's feelings. Let's talk about the deep game. All right. 16 comebacks. So all those curls that we talked about earlier, you got to prioritize this as well. This is just deeper curls. That's all that is. I'm a big fan of any type of comeback that's in here. I like dagger. There's only 6 of them in here. Let's see. 6 divides. I want to show flood. We got 13. I'm a big flood fan. You usually got a man beater on one side and a zone concept on the other, and that's kind of what flood is. 29 verticals. So yes, everybody's got a bunch of verticals, but this one, it's got an absolute ton. This one and maybe the Western Kentucky playbook is one of the higher ones I've seen, but 29, that's a crazy amount of verticals. So yeah, chuck it deep. This is where you're probably going to do most of your workout with that. We got a couple goes, which is technically more verticals. That one literally just is called verticals. We got 8 meals. So pretty much a post with a dig underneath it. 8 is actually a decent high number, but even with like inside cross, that's 1/3 comeback, 1/3 shallow cross, and 1/3 meals. They just dump 3 concepts into one right there, which is pretty cool. You keep on going. Shot play, there's only 8. If you remember, shot plays are more or less built around play action, and this isn't a very play action heavy attack. We got 10 switch. This is another fun way to get vertical, is to get that wheel post combo. You even got this one here, that mill switch. Look at, that's like an inverted, that's not even a post. That's more of just like an inverted wheel in a sense. It's just a really cool play. You keep on going, and we got technically 1 Y cross, but go to your slot cross from the medium side of things to get all your Y cross stuff. So we saw plenty of air raid stuff in there, but it's got a lot of vertical stuff built into it as well. Notice it says we've got 4 play action concepts or plays that are considered a concept. We got a boot and we got 3 slides. Again, play action is not a big component of the offense. Let's talk about the screen game. It says we got a total of 49 screens if you combine all your RPOs and your non-RPO screens. We got 13 bubbles. Just another way to get the ball to the outside to whoever. That's either a slot receiver, an outside receiver, what have you. You also got flanker screens, 17 of these. I really want to point this out. This must be a priority in your offense to have that many flanker screens. These are your outside receiver screens, more or less. And again, there's so many of them in here, you have to use them. I mean, you just got to. You also got a ton of halfback slip screens. So what does this tell you? The screen game is pretty important in this playbook. Way too much of it to not be used. And then you got a couple wide receiver mid screens. So again, this may be my new favorite spread playbook. I know they call it an air raid playbook. I think this is more spread again because of all this spread stuff right here. Look at all that. Then you can go empty. I mean, you can go empty like an entire season if you wanted to. There's so much of it in here. But of course, if you needed a tight end attached to the line, you got plenty of that. You also got a great collection of these trips looks with the tight end attached. I mean, I could just go on and on. Just an amazing playbook. I think you'll enjoy it if you really want to spread out a defense and sling the rock around and simplify your numbers in the box. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.